Welcome to the world's #1 fitness business podcast for health club owners, gym managers, and fitness entrepreneurs. As always, this will be a great show as we have another expert to help your fitness business and your career. We'd like to thank our premier sponsor, Active Management, for supporting us, and we highly recommend becoming a member of Active Management to strengthen your business in 2016. There are loads of resources members receive, so join the Active Tribe today at www.activemgmt.com.au. Now that's enough from me. Let's welcome the show's amazing host, Chantal. What's on this week's show?
Hi everyone, and welcome to our first show for the month of December. This month, I'm speaking to some of the most incredible women from inside our industry. And as a matter of fact, some of them from outside the industry as well. We're kicking off the month with a very special and inspirational personal trainer by the name of Carol Michaels. She's the owner of Carol Michaels Fitness and Recovery Fitness, which is a cancer exercise program developed to improve recovery from cancer surgery and treatments. She's also the IDEA Personal Trainer of the Year for 2016. During the interview, she talks about her journey to building the business Recovery Fitness, and she also gives us an insight into how she approached and how she established relationships with the medical industry in order to develop and to support the program. I think you're going to find that really interesting. Also, coming up later in the show is an amazing woman in fitness, Jessica Glazer. Believe it or not, I actually first came across Jess on my Instagram feed, because she put up an image of a fitness game for kids, and that got my attention, and I soon found out that Jess is an incredible role model and an amazing advocate for keeping kids fit. And during the interview, she shares just some of the ways that she has made fitness fun for kids. So I'm really excited to introduce you to both of these amazing women, and that's coming up in just a few minutes' time. Now, you know, I like to ask you a little favor each week. So here it is for this week. If you enjoy the show and if you find that you've been able to grow your business as a result of the things that you've heard, then can I please ask you to jump onto iTunes and leave us a review? Don't just sit there and listen to me saying it again. I would love you to actually jump on and do it. It will help us out a huge amount. We deliver this show to you every single week, and I really work hard to make sure that the information is valuable to you, and I really, really do hope that you can utilize it. So if you can spare a couple of minutes, I would be so grateful. You know, your support, writing a quick review like that just helps us to continue to deliver the show to you each week. So all you need to do is go to iTunes and then go to podcasts, type in the Fitness Business Podcast, click on ratings and reviews, and then click on leave a review. Thank you so, so much.
The Fitness Business Podcast is very appreciative of our podcast partners. Here's a quick word from one of our partners.
Tribe Team Training are the world leaders in getting more members engaged, retained, and paying extra for small group training. This week's flashback show is show 35 with Sean Bester, and we called it How Fitness Professionals Can Maximize Online Leads, Part 1. It is an intense show. There is a huge amount of information in there, so I do recommend that when you listen to the show, also jump on and check out the show notes so that you've got all the takeaways and you don't miss anything. That's just part 1. I think next week's flashback will have to be part 2. So if you missed that show, go back and check it out. That's show 35, and you can find it on iTunes or at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Carol Michaels is the founder of Recovery Fitness, a cancer exercise program developed to improve the recovery from cancer surgery and treatments. She has worked with physicians and other health professionals to develop her Recovery Fitness program. She is an award-winning cancer exercise specialist and consultant, and is on the board of numerous health organisations. Carol has appeared on health-related radio and television programs. She's been published in numerous magazines, newsletters, blogs, and medical journals. She's also developed and produced 2 DVDs called Recovery Fitness Simple Stretches and Recovery Fitness Strength. Last but not least, Carol is the IDEA Fitness Personal Trainer of the Year for 2016. Carol, are you ready to Fitzfire our global tribe of fitness business owners and managers?
Absolutely, yes.
Fantastic. Now, I've just shared your bio with everyone. You are an award-winning personal trainer. You've spoken at conferences, you've conducted workshops, and you have transformed people's lives with your personal training services. All of that sounds absolutely amazing. I'm going to guess that there have been some roadblocks or hurdles along your road to success. Do you want to share one of those with us?
Yes, there were quite a few hurdles. The main hurdle was the health of my family. Unfortunately, my parents and other family members and friends were all affected by cancer and other diseases. So as you can imagine, it was very difficult to run a business and be a caretaker as well. But when facing adversity, or when you're handed lemons, you try to make lemonade. And that really inspired me to figure out how can I help these people through my knowledge of health and fitness. So by watching my mother, father, and other family members battling this disease, I learned so much and was motivated to learn more so I could take that knowledge and help others.
Can I ask you, when you, in the early days when you made the decision to go very niche with your business, was it ever a concern that there wouldn't be enough clientele, or what was your mindset when you originally decided to make it quite a niche fitness business?
Mm-hmm. Well, I unfortunately saw that there were so many people who were suffering from cancer and they had nowhere to go to improve their recovery. I saw that cancer left them with terrible impairments. Many people could not even raise their arm after breast cancer surgery and treatments. There were many side effects, fatigue, neuropathy. And although the oncologists did a wonderful job with helping them treat the cancer itself, there was nowhere for them to go to increase their range of motion and get back to the activities that they enjoyed before the diagnosis. There was stiffness, numbness. And when I realized that so many of these side effects can be prevented through proper exercise, I knew that there would definitely be clientele for this information. So I created a series of stretches and strengthening exercises, along with working with two physicians to create this recovery fitness cancer exercise programs. So these exercises now help eliminate or minimize some of the side effects from cancer surgery and treatments.
Carol, tell me, where do you see the growth opportunities within your business?
I think there's huge growth opportunities for cancer survivors or those with other illnesses. We'll call these special populations in some of the larger chain gyms. You know, as we know right now, many of the large gyms are separating part of the gym for bar classes, Pilates classes. And right now, with our aging population, there, unfortunately, will most likely be more people with various diseases, arthritis, Parkinson's, osteoporosis. And these people are looking for places to go to exercise. So the gyms or the big fitness centers are really missing a large portion of the population. And that's where I see growth. So many of the people that I've worked with for the past 20 years have had to drop out of their regular gyms because they could not provide them with the exercise programming that was necessary for their particular situation.
I think that's really interesting, Carol, and I guess this is probably a really good platform to reach out and say to our business owner friends out there, you know, is this an area that you've taken into account? Is this something that you're interested in knowing more about? Maybe, Carol, you would be open to, to chatting to people about your experience in this area, because, you know, it certainly sounds like something that we should be taking into account if we're not already for the future population. So now, You have won, and I mentioned this in your bio, you've won several awards, and most recently the 2016 Idea Personal Trainer of the Year award. So congratulations on that. How was that to win that award?
Thank you. It is really thrilling. It's such a huge honor to receive an award from the largest health and fitness organization. So it was truly a wonderful experience.
And do you think, from a business perspective, what do you think it means for your business to win an award?
It's a really great thing because it's recognition, and recognition always feels good. And the recognition of the importance of my work just gives me more motivation to work harder, and also brings awareness of my program and the importance of working with the special population to the general public and to other fitness professionals.
And do you have any advice for any of our tribe that are listening that might be considering entering for an industry award?
I would just say, just do it. It will help increase awareness of your work. It helps to open doors. And it's just a wonderful way. If you have something that's a little different, something that really will help other people improve their health, it's just a great way of bringing awareness to what you're working on.
Carol, you and your business obviously have, a fantastic respect, and you've worked with medical fraternity. Would you maybe share with us how you actually built that relationship and how you gained that credibility?
Yes, I'll be happy to do that. It's all about tenacity, stick-to-itiveness, and really having a never give up attitude. It's really difficult to set up meetings with physicians, and that's what you have to do. And as most of you know, sometimes it's even difficult to get a call back when you're the patient. So you really have to be persistent, get in there, meet with the physicians, and once you're there, you better know your stuff. You really, really have to read everything you can get your hands on. Meet with as many health professionals as possible. What I did and what I still do to this day, I receive cancer publications and publications on other diseases that I'm involved with. I study health-related websites. So really by staying informed on the latest information, that will really show the people that you're meeting with that you're serious and you know what you're doing, and that you'll be able to help them help their patients. And it's important to build these relationships, because sometimes you really do need to be able to talk to the client's doctor. You really do want to be able to understand their particular health issues so you can create the best exercise program for their special situation. And also, sometimes the patient is so overwhelmed by the diagnosis that they don't even know the specifics of their chemotherapy or the exact details of the surgery. So they really love to have you, the trainer or the fitness professional, there to help them understand what they're going through, and this way to create the best program possible for their recovery.
And so with the relationships that you have with these medical professionals, do you gain all of your referrals through them, or how does that referral network work for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I should also mention is that, throughout the years, I have kept the results of the recovery fitness program. And of course, they've been excellent. I recorded the physical and emotional improvements. And then by having these results, that all just sort of speaks for themselves. The doctors love to have that information. They feel confident in referring people to me. And then by word of mouth, a cancer survivor might mention to someone else going through what they're going, that by going through the recovery fitness program, they were really able to feel better and go back to work or take care of their kids. Through having good results. So, I always recommend that people record results so you actually have evidence of how good your program and how helpful it is, because these will allow you to get grants from different facilities. So, for example, I've worked at various hospitals where the grant writers were able to obtain grants to provide these exercise programs. And that's really very helpful for people with limited financial means so they can become productive members of their community. So I would say that in terms of, really building referrals, first of all, you have to have the knowledge. You have to be able to meet all the medical and health professionals in the field, and that includes physicians, social workers, nurses, anyone involved in mind-body. And it's helpful to send them reports regularly on the fitness gains of these clients to the health professionals. And, even best yet, make sure that your clients tell everybody, tell their doctors, tell their friends about their improved function.
So what I'm hearing, Carol, is that so much of your business is about relationships, and it's about the community and the network that you've been able to build over the years.
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
And tell me, when it comes to actually advertising or marketing your business, do you do any, I guess, more traditional advertising or marketing, or what can you tell us about how you actually promote the business?
Mm-hmm. I would have to say, really the largest percentage, as we said earlier, of my business is a word of mouth business, which really is always a great way of getting business. Yeah. Of course, I do have a website. I do have brochures and just some of the very traditional type of marketing things. But I'd say the largest percentage of my clients is through word of mouth.
And talk to me about social media, because most personal trainers and most fitness businesses these days do rely on social media quite a lot to market their business. What's your stance on that? How much do you utilize social media?
Yeah, that's one area, I'm quite, different, than the typical fitness professional. I do post on Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, but really not on a regular basis, by the book. I know you should be doing this every day, maybe several times a day, but I'll basically post when I have written an article myself, or I have found a piece of research or information that's not going to be easily found by my audience. So I really probably do have a small footprint in social media. It's been working for me fine. I think one reason is because I am so specialized and I have been doing this so long. I'm sure that somebody just getting started, the correct advice would be to be very involved in social media, because I do understand it, and I do understand it is very powerful. Maybe at one point, I'll get more involved in it myself.
And one of the big areas that I wanted to talk to you about, Carol, is when I did go onto your website, I noticed that you have quite a lot of secondary sources of income. So you sell DVDs and books and training courses. I'm really interested to talk to you more about that. What percentage would you say roughly of your income comes from those secondary sources?
And that changes so much from month to month. Mm-hmm. So, it's very difficult to say. Sometimes it could be as little as 10%, especially if I have a lot of speaking engagements. Sometimes it could actually be as much as 30%. So it's always changing.
Okay, and tell us, when was it that you started to diversify from just doing the training? Sort of what, and I guess what was it that motivated you to offer these extra products online?
Well, the big motivation was that there was a demand for the products. I really didn't develop the DVDs and the book as a source of income. I was working on overload with so many clients that I really needed for them to have a DVD, for them to work on some of the important stretches and strengthening exercises at home, just really to help me. It was just to save time for me. And also it was a great help for people that I talk to and work with on a phone consultation basis for people who don't live in the New York, New Jersey area. The DVDs and books have been extremely helpful for them, and they really are so grateful to have them, because when you are not near a big hospital, a big cancer center, it might be impossible to find a cancer exercise specialist. So the DVDs, I'm happy that I made them, and I really have been hearing wonderful feedback on how helpful that they've been.
Oh, that's excellent. So basically you have a business now that incorporates the training, the online products, plus you do your workshops and your speaking gigs, and all of that falls under Carol Michaels Fitness. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And the workshops and speaking engagements, those are quite lucrative. I do a lot of corporate wellness programs, and everything does get run through the Carol Michaels Fitness business.
You must be a very good multitasker.
I am. You really you have to work hard and be very, very organized.
I could just imagine. Well, Carol, look, you've been wonderful in sharing so much information with us already, and I'm hoping that we can finish up on one last thing. And we like to ask our guests to give us their Fitbizpiration. And what I'm looking for from you today is your top 3 tips for running a personal training business. Before we hear Carol's top 3 tips, here's a quick message from one of our amazing sponsors.
Hey, it's JT here from the Industry Leaders Roundtable. Hope you are loving this month with all our inspiring women. If you want to grow, strengthen, enhance, or hustle in 2017, run your business in agendas 2 and 3, like many of our women leaders that you've been listening to. What are agendas 2 and 3? Go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/roundtable for a free download.
Okay, Tribe, here are Carol's top 3 tips for running a personal training business.
My top tips would be, first of all, knowledge. Know your subject matter. Truly become the expert. Have a reason for someone to want to and need to work with you. And that goes hand in hand, perhaps, with specializing or having a niche, because it's almost impossible to be an expert in everything. I would also say another tip would be really love your clients. Develop strong relationships with them, strong friendships. This will lead to referrals. And lastly, be persistent, tenacious, roll with the punches. Just never give up.
Carol, what I'm hoping will come out of this is I'm hoping that other people, part of our tribe, are listening and they feel inspired by the work that you do, because I think that there is an opportunity for many, many more Carol Michaels out there. And I want to congratulate you on the work that you do and the help that you give other people who are going through such a difficult time. I know in Australia it would be amazing to have more trainers out there that specialise in helping cancer patients recover after their surgery and after their treatments. So I really hope that you are going to be one of many people out there in the fitness industry who do focus on this niche, because I think there's absolutely need for it. So thank you for all the work that you do. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your story with us today. And we're going to be leaving your contact details in the show notes, along with more information on your website and your products and that type of thing. So thank you, Carol, so much much for joining us on the Fitness Business Podcast.
You are so welcome. It was a pleasure.
Get ready for this week's bonus segment, your extra injection of information, education, and inspiration to strengthen your fitness business.
How amazing was that? Tribe, we're going to go now from one inspiring woman in fitness to another. Let's now tune into our second guest for this week's show. Hey Tribe, I'm joined today by our very special guest. It is Jess Glazer, all the way from the US. Now, Jess is a personal trainer and a PE teacher and much, much more, which we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the show, Jess.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, I was just saying it's normally, our guests come from all over the place. Quite often we run into them in conferences or hear about them through our network. But I came across Jess on Instagram, of all places. And Jess, you've got a great Instagram account. And the reason, though, the thing that got my attention is that you created a bit of a game to get kids more active called Fitness Monopoly. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Which I love. So first of all, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your association with the fitness industry?
Sure. So I've been a personal trainer for about 14 years. This is my 8th year teaching at an elementary school. I teach phys ed and health over at the elementary school. I'm a high school gymnastics coach, and I was a gymnast growing up. I am an eating disorder survivor and a leader, a motivator, educator, basically a self-love junkie, and I do fitness competitions as well on the side. And I'm the founder of Alter Ego Fitness, which is being rebranded to Jess Glazer Fitness. And I run groups for women and young girls, both empowerment groups, giving them a safe space to really step out of their comfort zone and work on their own personal growth and development while learning to love their bodies all through fitness.
Wow, that is a huge portfolio. You've definitely got your finger in a lot of pies at the moment, which is really exciting. And as I said, we wanted to get you on the show because I love the work that you have done with the kids on getting them more active. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the game that you've come up with and the thought behind creating Fitness Monopoly?
Sure. So a few years ago, we were told we had to incorporate fitness as an entire unit plan in our phys ed program. And so when the phys ed teachers and I sort of looked at that, we were left with basically having to teach them how to do different exercises over a 3-week span. And as a phys ed teacher, we already incorporate that into class in all of our activities that we do, especially with our warm-ups and our instant activities. So I had started researching different ways that I could incorporate games that were going to bring those exercises and fitness skills in. And I had come across the idea of using board games as fitness games. So about 7 years ago, I used regular paper, just 8.5 by 11 standard paper, and I wrote different exercises on each piece, and then I spread them out across the gym floor, basically making a Monopoly board. And we would roll a foam dice that I had, and the kids would go around the room, and when they would land on a certain spot, they would have an exercise to do. So it was a lot of prep work in setting up in between each class because there were all the different pieces of the board. And then we had actual dice that we would use, and I had equipment that I would use. So a station might have resistance bands or medicine balls or a step that they could use. And it just became more taxing than I felt. We were spending more time setting it up than the students were able to actually use the program. So fast forward a couple years, and over the summer, I was brainstorming what I wanted one of my bulletin boards to be. And I decided that I was going to bring back the Fitness Monopoly game and turn it into a bulletin board that I could leave up year round and that we could use as a warm up each day or an instant activity throughout the year. And what I decided to do on the board is we'll add a picture, and you can see in the center of the board, I actually bought pre-made Monopoly pieces in a teacher's store. So if you zoom in on the pieces, they do say cute things like head to the principal's office and recess time and no homework pass. So the preset board that I put on to my bulletin board is the official Monopoly game with the pieces. But what then I did, I made separate pieces to go along with the board so that I could switch those board pieces in and out throughout the year. So while right now we're using it as a great warm-up tool, I left the bulletin board set up so that I could take off the small pieces which I made, and I can swap them out, let's say later on in the year, for different basketball skills. And now we can use it as an actual board to practice on different types of skills or different types of exercises. So I wanted it to be an interchangeable board that the students could use. And we do still use the dice, but now I don't really need to be setting things up, and we don't need to be breaking things down. So it's kept it much easier.
I just love this, Jess. And I want to encourage all of our tribe, jump onto the show notes because I want you to check out the board that Jess has created. It is very cool. It'll straight away give you an idea. And when I saw it, I thought, yeah, this is such an awesome way to get kids moving because you are creating you're making fitness fun, which, as we all know, is a huge challenge that we face with adults as well. So regardless of whether or not you work with kids, I do really encourage everyone to jump on and take a look at this board that Jess has done, because I actually think it could translate across many, many different environments. And it's really nice to hear the process that you went through, Jess, from sort of the original layout and all the work that you did in the early days and how it's progressed from there. So let me ask you this. What sort of reaction do you get from the kids?
Oh, wow. Well, we are just starting our 4th week of school here in the States. So we're still in our first month of school, and they absolutely love it. They ask me every single day if we're going to use it, if we can do it, when we're going to use it, if we haven't yet. They love it. They love to be able to roll the dice and do the different exercises. And I did put some things up on the board that some of the students might not know yet. So it's a great way for me to introduce new skills as well. And it keeps them so engaged and so motivated to just keep going and do, whatever the task is at hand. And it's really nice too. I have found that it's very non-threatening and non-competitive because every student is doing their exercise at the same time. So no one is really focused on what someone else is doing or who finished first or did I do it with the correct form. It's just kind of everyone is staring forward at the board, doing whatever the exercise is, and then they just can't wait until they roll the dice and do it again. So it's really been really special. They're absolutely loving using it.
Oh, I love it. So, Jess, if you were to give advice to anyone who's listening that might want to do something similar or perhaps might just want to find ways to get kids more active, is there any advice that you can give us?
Well, what you said was a huge point. We have to keep fitness fun, and that's all the way down to kids up to adults. You need to make it fun. And I never, ever use fitness as a punishment. So if a child is in trouble or the class isn't listening, I don't think that it's right to make them run, because then they associate, maybe running or burpees with a punishment. So instead, keeping it fun and also setting the example. I do not ever hesitate to jump into the game. I do every burpee with them. I do every push-up with them. And, just showing them that it's fun and that we can think of new things. I also would recommend giving the students an opportunity to think of something. They're so creative and they think outside the box way more than us adults. So I will often ask them if they can think of an idea of something that they want to do or what would be fun. And, as long as their heart rates are up and they're running around and they're having a good time, it doesn't really matter. There's no correct way to exercise. So I would say changing it up is really, really important, especially with kids. They have a short attention span. So keeping it moving, changing it up, keeping it fun. I incorporate music whenever we're inside. Everything we do, we put music on, and you'll notice children around the room are just dancing, even if that's not what we're supposed to be doing. And that's okay. I encourage that, as long as they're moving. So, just finding new things to do and listening to what they have to say and trying to keep up with the technology as well. I follow all of my students, the other people that they follow. I ask them, who are you following? What are you watching on YouTube? What are you into right now? Which singers are they into? And just by kind of keeping up with everything that they're doing and listening to and following, it gives me a better idea of what they're interested in and what might work. And so my other bulletin board this year happens to be emojis and hashtags. And you know what? You just have to, you can't beat them, just join them, So I have all different healthy hashtags up, and they just think it's the coolest thing because I'm speaking their lingo. So, I think if you really just make everything fun and keep it fresh and keep it new, they're kids. They want to run around.
Jess, I absolutely love hearing that. And you're a great example of someone who, truly understands the audience that you're working with and the people that you're working with. And I love that you are getting kids active and that you're making fitness fun. So look, congratulations so much on what you've done with the game. As I said, we will make sure that we include the image on there of your bulletin board in our show notes this week, and we'll include some links to your Instagram and your social media sites so everyone can check out, because Jess has some fantastic pics going up on Instagram. I follow you all the time, and congratulations on the work that you're doing in the industry. So thank you so much for coming on the show today, Jess.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly honored, and I just hope that we can all link arms and help show kids and adults that fitness can be fun, and we should just be so grateful for everything that our bodies can do and not focus on what they can't do, and be grateful that we can move.
I could not agree more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pre-Core Quickfire 5.
Tribe, Dr. Sherry Pagado is a professor in the Department of Medicine at the University of Massachusetts Medical School and the co-founder of UMass Center for mHealth and Social Media. Welcome along to the show, Sherry.
Hi, thank you. I'm very
Should I be calling you Doctor or Sherry, or I don't know what to call you?
You can call me Sherry.
You are officially the first doctor that we have had on the show, so I'm very excited.
Oh, wow. Okay. No pressure there.
Yeah, no pressure at all. Now, are you ready to answer your quick fire 5 questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Tell us, why do you do what you do?
Well, I have a personal passion for health and fitness, and I've always been also very fascinated by psychology. And so I was very excited to kind of find out that there's this area of psychology called health psychology that allows me to do research and work with patients on the same topics that I find so fascinating in my personal life. So it makes work a lot of fun and always interesting. And so that's what kind of keeps me going, is I try to, apply the same things I'm doing at work in my own life, stay active, live a healthy lifestyle, and that sort of thing.
Excellent. And what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I've ever received, I think, actually is pretty relevant to kind of both exercise and life in general, which is to just focus on yourself. Don't compare yourself with others, and always compete against your last performance. And so I apply that, whether it has to do with my running or my work or anything in life, is just to kind of focus on yourself, not what other people are doing, and stay competitive, but with yourself.
Good
most
advice.
of all.
Great advice.
Yeah.
What's a personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
Well, this is going to sound kind of maybe cliche on this program, but I really feel like it is exercise. Mm-hmm. And mostly because the benefit that I find most powerful about exercise is the fact that it does help me with my work, in that it really helps me focus. So really sort of a lot of these cognitive function benefits and stress reduction. I love in the middle of my day to take an exercise break, because I feel like my brain lights up and I am more creative. I have better ideas. I feel calmer and can just be more productive. And so I love also that exercise helps me manage my weight and all these other things, but I really feel like what it does for my mind and my productivity is number one.
I think that many of us can relate to that. And tell us, what's one book that you'd recommend and why?
That was a very difficult question, because I'm an avid reader and I love so many books. And so I had to kind of browse my shelf. I think just kind of a general book, on life in general. I would recommend Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It's just a really powerful book. And I think it kind of changed the way that I think. And when a book can do that, I feel like I've got to put it on the top of the list.
Good one. And why should our tribe come back next week and listen to the main interview?
Well, because it's going to be the most fun you had all day. So I really think they should, make time for that.
I totally agree. I'm actually so genuinely excited to have you on the show, Sherry, because I just think we're going to be, we're delving next week into an area that we really haven't explored a lot. We haven't had someone from your field on the show before. So I'm really, really excited to have you back next week. So thank you so much for joining us for the Quickfire 5.
Thank you.
It's time for the Fitness Business Podcast Wrap.
Tribe, rather than leave you with our traditional takeaways, this week I wanted to use this opportunity to remind you of some of the key things that Carol said. She said that I saw that there were so many people suffering from cancer and they had nowhere to go to improve their recovery. I just want to encourage you to think about that. Think if that sounds familiar in your community that you live in and whether or not that's a challenge that you want to take on and embrace. She also said that I've seen so many people to have to drop out of their regular gyms because they couldn't provide them with the exercise programming that was needed for their particular situation. And last but not least, she said there are so many side effects that can be managed through proper exercise. I think there is just such a huge amount for us to think about from what Carol had to say today. Tribe, please don't forget you can actually find Carol's contact information in today's show notes, and you can also check out the great game that Jessica created to make fitness fun for kids. All of that's on the website. Thank you so much for joining me for another week of the Fitness Business Podcast. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.